Hello and welcome to the Sports Lounge. I'm Nathan Stacken. We have a shorter but good show for you today. We'll be talking about the NCAA Tournament, also an MLB preview, and we'll also have game time with a trivia question or two that I hear is very, very good, according to Travis. And with that, we welcome you to the Sports Lounge. I'm Nathan Stacken alongside Travis and Drew and Charlie. Marcus, who you saw a couple weeks ago, will be by shortly for game time. And that Blake fellow, he's just not here today. He might be here next week. We hope.
I thought he was getting choppered in.
Is he? I don't know.
Was I misinformed?
Well, you might have been. We begin with the NCAA tournament, though. We are down to the Final Four. And if your Final Four had Butler, VCU, and Kentucky and UConn, thank you. I got mixed up with those. We should go to Vegas or buy a Powerball ticket with you because you're one lucky or smart fellow. Who saw this coming? I ask you that. Who saw this Final Four?
Well, think about
the two guys.
3 people out of like 18 billion, something like that.
On ESPN brackets, right?
Yeah, and that's not even factoring in all the other brackets. I don't know.
Not even
Nobody.
factoring in households with more than one television. So.
Well, that's about our TV
Or
ratings,
people-
but that's a different argument altogether. But
Outstanding, you know, one side of the bracket, Connecticut, you kind of saw that coming, kind of.
Good.
You know, if you pick Connecticut, I'll give you that. Kentucky, maybe, but the other side of the bracket with Butler and VCU, I'm way more looking forward to that game than I am the Kentucky-Connecticut game.
Well, is it because it's based on seedings? We have an 8-seed Butler versus an 11-seed VCU,
Well,
and one of them is going to go to the championship?
Even if they were both 1 seeds, I wouldn't care because it's Butler and VCU, two schools that haven't been here very often. Butler, you know, does it again, and one of them is going to go to the championship game. So second year in a row, there's going to be a mid-major having a chance to win a national title.
yeah, and I think that leads to a better argument or a different argument to where, you know, is this a good matchup for the NCAA in terms of, because, you know, all the money, was it $14 billion? I mean,
Yeah.
just a load of coin into, you know, and what they want is good ratings. Now, does that matchup generate good ratings? You know, people always say, oh, you know, root for the underdog, root for the underdog. Well, what do people watch? They watch Duke, they watch North Carolina. So that hasn't been, there's been some, I don't know, a difference in what people say and then what actually happens. But I personally think it's good. I'll watch that game. I'll be really interested. It's 2 teams playing really good basketball. I think, you know,
Darren Revel from CNBC, he's a sports business guy for them. He said that prior to yesterday's games that this has been the most watched tournament since 2000. Will it happen? And do you think that's a result of the amount of upsets? Do you think it's a result of having 4 different stations being able to see every game? What do you think is the cause of that?
I think the stations definitely makes a big difference. You know, instead of being stuck with one game or having to register at CBS Sports or whatever to watch whatever you want, you can actually pick what you want to watch now. I think that makes a big difference. And, you know, a lot of people quit watching when their brackets are screwed up, but maybe everyone's was bad enough they just said, well, I don't have to worry because I'm in the same boat as everyone else, so we're going to see how it plays out.
If you're not going to watch the tournament because your bracket's busted, why don't you just go dig yourself a hole and just go live in it? Because it's ridiculous. That's, oh, whatever.
Live under a rock, pretty much.
Kind of, yeah. My one beef with obviously it's a great reason that all the games are broadcast. The reason why the ratings are you know, as good as they've ever been. But it's just, I wish that the remote had where you could press the previous button 4 times.
Yep.
Instead,
Or just
I did
have
not
4
know how
screens.
much of an issue
Quad
that would
picture
be.
in picture.
Yeah, quad
Quad
picture.
picture, you know, stuff like that. But
You know what
say
we're
so, yeah.
I wasn't saying something I am now, but I pointed, so I wanted to talk. No,
You should apologize for pointing. That's very
sorry.
rude.
We're going to talk about this 10, 15, 20 years from now, and we're going to tell our kids, say, hey, kids, remember back in the day when there were only 1 game on at a time for the NCAA tournament? You lucky suckers, you get all of them now.
Shouldn't you be picking your kids up from elementary?
The wife, the wife's got that.
They got them today because you're doing the show.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad you guys didn't go through with the divorce.
All right, okay. Let's get
It's
the train
pending,
back.
it's pending.
Let's get the train back on the tracks here. So we
But
have.
isn't that something, though, that they're all, you know, just think of that.
Well, how
20 years from
how
now-
crazy was it that it took till 2010 to 2011 to get
Just
them all
think
up?
of that.
I
we
think
were
that's
stuck.
the best point. I mean, for the last 20 years,
We were
they've had
stuck like that.
64 games, and you had one option, and you were watching this game, and if it wasn't the game you wanted to watch, then you were out of luck then.
Has VCU, now let's switch just to them, have they vindicated themselves
No.
based on, no, they have not. Travis,
No.
why?
I want to keep that for true and false, but
Oh, okay.
say it be so.
Oh, so that is, all right, so
We can come up with an alternate.
we're teasing that. Okay, so let me go
Quick on
this
feet.
route.
Yeah.
Did anyone think that VCU, because most of us thought that maybe VCU didn't deserve to be in. Travis, you didn't.
I thought
So-
they should have been in. Yeah.
Are they making their critics like ESPN's
Yeah, let's
Dick
just-
Vitale and Jay Billis
just do the
eat the
question.
crow?
I tweeted yesterday. I have Twitter. Yes, I do have Twitter, and I use it quite frequently.
Come on.
I tweeted yesterday. It's like, you know what? This is still wrong. Colorado, Alabama, you still deserve to be in. The committee, shame on you. Obviously, I made that comment in jest, but again, isn't it kind of ridiculous though how the first year they throw in 4 additional teams, that's the year that one of those teams that otherwise wouldn't be in the tournament goes all the way
Does
to the Final
anyone
Four?
think, though, that a Colorado or an Alabama could have done this, gone the route that VCU has gone and taken this road to the Final
I
Four?
mean, maybe they could have. I don't think they would have, though. But, you know, I've always been of the opinion if you're on the bubble and you're one of the last teams in, then you probably don't deserve to be in the first place. And VCU is just one of those rare teams every 5 to 10 years that makes a run after doing
Yeah.
that because they
What-
got hot at the right time.
What did Colorado and Alabama do in the NIT? I don't even know. So
I think Colorado is in the
The
Final Four. I'm not sure about Alabama,
the NIT.
But when it comes,
but no one
Disclaimer.
cares.
it
Right.
comes down to the matchups. USC couldn't score at all. VCU held them under 50 points, right around 50 points.
Correct.
Georgetown
limped into the tournament.
hadn't won in a month.
Yeah.
You know, matchups. Colorado, they played Kansas stuff once, but, you know, it's all about the matchups once you
And
get
that's
to the
what's
tournament.
really interesting is all 4 teams in the Final Four all had very average regular seasons in general,
But I
and then
think-
just played well at the right time.
Exactly, and I think a big part of that goes to Shaka Smart, and great name. I'm so glad I got to be able to say it.
I
Shaka
really
Smart,
like his
the ability for him to get them so motivated just psychologically. I mean, you could just see it in their body language when they play it. It was just like
Well, that a huge chip
they weren't
on
afraid
their
to play
shoulder.
Kansas at all.
No,
I don't see how you can say VCU didn't validate their pick. Because I have not heard anybody go back on their word and say, no, I believe they should have been a tournament team now.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that.
VCU was up 18 in that game in the first half.
Yes.
I mean, it was just an onslaught.
Please
let's just
please tell me that the national title winner didn't deserve to be in the tournament, please.
So let's just recap briefly. Kansas did not look like themselves. They missed 19 of their 21 three-pointers. They missed 13 free throws. Did they give that game away to VCU, or did VCU win that game?
VCU won that game because they took a lead. Kansas panicked. They made one semi-surge, but VCU held them back. I think the way they started out is a great reason why Kansas was so cold shooting from the three-point range.
I'm going to go with Kansas lost it just because I think we could all agree that Kansas probably is more talented. But like people say every year, it's a tournament, it's a one-game scenario, and anything can happen. And VCU came out and hit their shot great from three-point range, and Kansas shot horribly, and they looked significantly better throughout the day or throughout the whole game.
VCU's basically won all their games the same way. Run and gun,
yeah.
shot the three better than they ever have all season long. And they've just continued this streak. And you got Kansas playing a 16 seed, a 9 seed, a 12 seed. They get an 11 seed. Easiest path ever to the Final Four seed-wise, and they still can't pull it off.
Yeah.
Well,
you can make a case that maybe Bill Self should be
I was going to
fired.
say, I'll end it on this. Rock, chalk, Bill Self sucks.
Okay,
Rock,
Butler
chalk,
making
shock
it to the
is
Final Four. They will take on VCU. They beat Florida 74-71 in overtime. One of the, again, another great game, another close game that Butler was able to pull out. So as we preview VCU and Butler, who has the edge and which team do you think is going to win?
It's got to be Butler, I think. I mean, with the way that, the way both these teams have played. But I think experience is a great factor in this Final Four. Now VCU has shown, regardless of, the scenario, it's like, well, whatever, we're just going to go play basketball better than we ever have. But I like this. I like the Butler team. Brad Stevens is phenomenal. I mean, I like Butler in that game, but it's going to be close.
Would you be shocked by
No.
either team winning in this?
No.
At this point, I don't think
It's a
you could be
toss-up.
shocked. I don't think you could be shocked if either team won by 2 or won by 20 at this point. I think it's about as wide open as it could possibly
So you're
be.
taking VCU?
I'm taking Butler because Brad Stevens is still wearing those glasses.
Okay.
It's a contrast of styles because you have Butler that all they do is win the close ones, and you have VCU, they haven't been in a close game yet.
Not really, no.
And it was interesting. I think it was the game of the tournament, Butler in Florida. Thought it was the best game I saw of the tournament.
Off the top of my head, I'd have to disagree.
There's been a lot of
there
really
have been
good
a lot
games.
of really close games. Switching over to the other side now, we have Kentucky versus UConn. Kentucky was pretty much in full control of their game over North Carolina. North Carolina made a few runs.
It was tied with like 2 minutes
Harrison
left.
Barnes got them to tie, but you could tell Kentucky just had.
They were down 1
rhythm.
with like a minute 20 left.
Yes, North Carolina made their runs, but Kentucky, North Carolina was always on their heel, and Kentucky seemed to always make big. No, not really. But Kentucky always seemed to make big threes. So are we looking at John Calipari's team saying that they could go all the way and win it this year?
Well, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say if you get to the Final Four, you have a good shot at winning it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just win the championship.
UConn's got Kemba Walker, and I'm not going to root against, or I might root against them, but I'm not going to pick against Kemba Walker until they're out of the tournament.
Well, I'll just say congrats on John Calipari finally getting a team to the Final Four.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, what?
Well, how long till this is vacated?
Yeah.
I know that's
3
where
years
you're
from
going.
now, this isn't going to count either.
Thank you for picking up on that. However, I don't know. I like you. I like the. To me, the biggest storyline after maybe somebody like Virginia Commonwealth winning the whole thing, because that would be the lowest seeded team to win one. To me, I love the storyline of UConn winning 10 straight to the title,
Yes.
and on the shoulders of Kemba Walker, who's played brilliantly. I like that storyline. I like the way UConn's played, obviously, and Kemba Walker's playing about as well as I think I've ever seen a guard play in this tournament. I don't know. I like UConn.
Let's say they win the whole thing. Jim Calhoun, what is he, 68, 67 years old?
He's getting up there. He's older now.
I would hope, I think he retires if they win.
Well, he'd
To
go
avoid
out
the
on
suspension
top.
for next year.
No
right?
suspension for him. He suspended the first 3 games.
So everyone is taking UConn then over
Yeah.
Kentucky?
I will.
I really hate John Calipari and how slimy he is, so it's pretty tough for me to pick Kentucky ever.
All right, there's your Final Four preview. When we come back to the Sports Lounge, we will be having a little baseball preview. Yes, baseball starts on Thursday. And we'll see who we're thinking could make a run at the World Series. Will it be the Twins?
It'll be the Qs.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go with the Pirates.
Maybe the Yankees will knock them out in the first round. We'll talk baseball when we return.
Seattle,
You're watching the
Houston,
Sports Lounge.
Houston.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports Lounge. I'm Nathan Stacken. It is time for our baseball preview. We are pleased to be joined